To this event to say thank you and congratulations to Barbara Hensley for her 21 years of service. I also want to just welcome everybody who's here today to join us, and we've got a ton of former Mark staff folks and a couple extra guests. And most notably is Barbara's husband, Mark, who retired recently from a long career. We are responsible for Barbara retiring earlier. We are annoyed with you, but we welcome you anyway. It's good to have you. Also, I'm going to just read these so I don't have to look all around. I saw Jody Craig, I saw former Commissioner Ron Schaefer, Julie Whitman, Jim Kakamo, Dave Simmons, Bev Wilson, Georgia Nesselrode, Dorothy Pope, Keith Faddis, Danny Roeder, Manny Trio, Andy Dandino, Julie Whitman, and Eric Morgenstern, and who am I missing?
Just my friend Sherry.
Great, Dean. I'm sorry. And a special Sherry Graham, who is Barbara's friend from high school. It's great to have all of you. Into some of what I prepared, I sort of inserted this program. This happened just today downstairs in our lobby. It was Amy and Barbara's farewell gift to the Mid-America Regional Council. It's on all our social media as well as other places. And I mentioned it to some of you and you haven't seen it, and so I'm going to play this really quick. Great. I want to take just a minute and recap Barbara's career. In 1974,
because sharing a ride. Things you do have got a long way to reduce.
That was the original Mark ride sharing. She graduated in the top 5% of her class at Van Horn High School in Independence. Sherry, how did you do?
Not the top 5%.
Microphone's not on? Great. It's on? Good. Yeah. Great. 4 years later, Barbara graduated cum laude with a BS degree from Home Economics and Business from Central Missouri State University, now known as University of Central Missouri. And for the first several months after college, she worked for Southwestern Bell as a long-distance telephone operator. It's interesting to note that neither that company or that job exists today. But then she moved into retail as a store manager for the next 4 years for a couple of different fabric and craft stores. And in 1995, she became the office manager for the Star Herald, where she honed all of her skills in writing and design and supervision and business management. And then 5 years later, in 1990, Barbara joined the Mid-America Regional Council. She started in an administrative position in community development, and then quickly demonstrated her talents as a writer, a communicator, ability to manage special projects, her strength with working with staff as well as in the community. And she actually helped guide our efforts, which we're now replicating 20 years later, to promote the 2000 census, if I've got that right. And it was sort of that role where she was able to kind of demonstrate her significant abilities. Through her 21 years, she's held positions of administrative assistant, planner one, a position she held for 1 week before being promoted to public affairs specialist, then public affairs coordinator 1 and 2, and finally public affairs director 7 years ago. She has done really an exceptional job in this role, and I think it's important to kind of remind ourselves, those of you who've been with Mark for a long time know this, that Mark, for us, public affairs is not an afterthought. It is something that is layered into and onto the real work that we do. In many ways, it's often the value we actually bringing to the community is our ability to communicate and inform and engage the public and our stakeholders. Here at Mark, public affairs is not advertising, it's not marketing, it's about connecting people and causes and impact, and it's less about persuasion and argument and more about fostering insight and understanding. And that's a nuance that is not always easy to get. And Barbara got it, she nailed it, and she helped ensure that we had a consistency of voice and values and quality in everything that we do. Along the way, she has quietly, I think, and skillfully built a really talented, creative group of people, a prolific group of people who put out a ton of work responding to an endless flow of requests for documents and grants and charts and publications and events, and the list goes on and on. But more important, she's helped that staff absorb the same kind of nuance in all that we put out. And so I know they are going to miss your guidance and leadership and support tremendously. What is often not seen is that Barbara has also supported and connected a group of her peers around the region, the regional, it's called RAPIO, the Regional Association of Public Information Officers, and they convene regularly to build relationships among themselves and among their cities and counties. And then periodically, they work as a group when we have a major public health or other major disaster to work as a group to communicate effectively to the general public. Over the years, I've been particularly proud of Barbara's work in advancing our social media presence, as you just saw, and using technology to inform and engage the public in new ways. And I think a particular specialty of hers has been taking documents that were created for administrative purposes, like our budget or our emergency plans, and turning those into communication platforms that help connect us to a much wider audience. And I have been really, over the years, been impressed by her clear-headed thinking, her judgment, her wisdom, her demeanor. She's become really an integral part of our entire management apparatus. All of these qualities have been really special, not only to me, but to the entire organization. And so I want to share with you 3 or 4 examples of what some people have said about Barbara. Jody Craig, who's here today, her former supervisor, said Barbara was probably the most reliable person I've ever worked with. Not only was she technically competent, she has a great insight into what the actual goals of any project are and how best to achieve them. She is also very easy to work with and not readily ruffled by others' disputes or short timelines or impossible tasks. I refute that. She has been ruffled. At least once with me. I can write one specific. Carmelia Anderson wrote this. She is a wonderful friend and extraordinary in her talents and gifts. I love how I can share my vision with her, and she makes it into something tangible and amazing to look at. I've enjoyed our lunches, our chats, and working with her over the years. She could stuff 1,000 envelopes like nobody's business. Aaron said, this is a great one. I have had the privilege to work with Barbara for the past 17 years and cannot exaggerate the value she's added to our regional emergency services program. She's one of those unique individuals who's able to translate the ideas you have in your head onto paper into a clear picture. She designed the one-page front-to-back overview of the Regional Emergency Services Program, a cornerstone of our program, first developed in 2004, and she did her final update earlier this week in 2020. That's 16 years of work. That's really special that she remembers that. And then finally, to demonstrate Barbara's sense of humor, Julie Whitman, who's here, also a former colleague, remembers one year Jody was out of the office and we handled the annual meeting event day on our own. In our state of delirium, we came up with salad code names for ourselves to use. Barbara was taco salad, Julie was Niçoise, Andy Graham was Cobb, Susan Giffen was Waldorf, and there were others. Andy Graham went up to David Warm and told him he was big head of lettuce. Andy Graham no longer works. One of Barbara's key strengths, and something that I really appreciated when she edits things that I say in public, is that she has a really keen ear for the written word. And by that I mean that she has a really intuitive sense that goes beyond grammar and is able to find words that convey the right message when spoken or read. And she is plain spoken and helps us communicate complex policy jargon and technical words into real words. Barbara calls it plannish behind our back. So Barbara's job has been to be a plannish translator and to help real people connect with real ideas. So to give you some example of our plannishness, we love words here like policy framework, utilize, integrated systems, placemaking, particulates. We love the word sustainability, but we're not allowed to use it. We insist on using more commas than necessary, and for most of us, our motto is, why use only 20 words if you can take 200 words to say it? And we also love acronyms, and we even have a glossary on our website. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing. It's 6 pages long. It's incredible. In small type, 6 pages of acronyms, and it's very Mark-like. Like, you know, we try to be helpful as we confuse you at the same time. It's really good. So it was actually, this is ironic, it was only a month ago that Barbara discovered and kind of announced in a couple of sessions the difference between an acronym and an initialism. And an acronym is the first letter of a string of words that are pronounced like a word, and NASA is an example. An initialism, which is a word I never heard of, is an abbreviation that's not pronounced as a word, rather you say the individual letters, like FBI. So it turns out we like both here at Mark. Rapio, Nimbus, Mars, Mohaka, those are acronyms, and TTPC, RHSCC, LEPC, those are all initialisms, technically. We've just learned this. I don't know why it took her 21 years to figure this out. So this got me to thinking that we need to update our style guide so that Barbara's wisdom is captured and carried forward. And so we're going to put Barbara to work right now and make the first few style decisions for our updated style guide. So I'm going to call this the Mark Speak Bible or the Barbara Speak Bible, I'm not sure. So this is your first big decision, Barbara. Mark is A or B? A. All right. Official. All right. Second, which is correct?
I would go with A. I'm not sure I'm grammatically correct on that.
All right, that's it. That's it. All right, one more.
Oh, no, Amy Strange must have put these.
I did every one of them.
Either one of those is correct.
That's not an option. And we're holding your final paycheck.
I'll go B.
B. It's officially a lot of time. Fourth. This is for you, Mark. You can phone a friend.
I'd go with both.
All right,
You're from Missouri, we'll go with A.
Okay, another one. Again, it's not none of the above.
We'll say C.
All right, we're going to settle with that. All right, and this leads to the most important one. You got to hear this story out. So this is Margaritaville today, and so the other night I looked up the lyrics for this song, and the Jimmy Buffett song by that famous name, and I learned a couple of things. And one is that the official version of the song that we all know, as well as the official lyrics, has a missing verse. And the original release has an extra stanza in it, and it begins, "Old men in tank tops cruising the gift shops." If the shoe fits?
Perfect.
Yeah.
If the flip-flop fits.
But secondly, and this is more germane, the second thing I learned is that the original version was not wasted away in Margaritaville. It was actually wasted away in Margaritaville. So you can go online, if you're a record aficionado, you can find the original recording where Jimmy Buffett was wasted away, not wasting away. There's an important subtle difference. So now we want to know, Barbara, A, B, no C.
Okay.
All right. Well, let me just say that no matter whether you are wasted away or wasting away, whether you sort of misses or somewhat misses, you have really leaving us with a lot of deep respect and affection for the work that you've done. You have brought not only a big heart to your work, you've brought a big heart to the relationships and have helped build up such a strong organization, a commitment to your fellow colleagues. I want to publicly thank you for the extraordinary role that you played as Mary Laird faced her illness and her decline, and you, along with several other people, really helped her through that final chapter in her life in an extraordinary way. And I know she wishes she were here with you today. And through that action and through really your day-to-day work over 21 years, you have demonstrated the values that we strive for as an organization, and you've endeared yourself to all of us, and you've made an indelible mark on this organization. You've certainly made an indelible mark on all of our documents. But either way, thank you very much for all of your great service. And now I'm going to turn this over to Marlene.